Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to another live edition of Hangout with TrekWorks and the gang. I'm your host, Boyd, and we've got a nice full panel again with us tonight. A bunch of modeling people who are going to share some of their tips and tricks and some of the models that they're working on. So, without further ado, let's get the thing started and start off with some introductions here. We're going to pick up first with Trotus 180. Take it away, Trotus.
Well, hi everybody again. This is Leon from Tacoma, Washington, and what I've been working on, let me put it up here, and I think you guys seen this from last week.
Yeah, some beautiful models, Leon. You got the refit, the Voyager, the 101, 1701.
Yeah. And then you remember that one.
Oh yes, Mobius Sea-Doo. Beautiful.
Yeah. And one thing I didn't show you on this one was this.
Oh man, you've got the ping going on. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And then my next project will be that right there.
Oh wow, yeah, that's great. Have you picked up all the photo etch parts and everything for that one, Leon?
No, not yet, because I'm still working on this one.
Oh, the Into Darkness Enterprise.
Yeah.
It's looking great.
So I'll be ordering the photo edge for the flying sub pretty soon. And
Very cool.
So that's about it right now.
Leon, do you have a YouTube channel that you show some of your stuff on, or no?
Yeah, I am on YouTube because I have a U-47 sub from Robbie, and that's also remote control. And also I have the 1350 and the NX-01.
Oh, cool. What's the name you go by on your YouTube channel so people can check you out?
Trotus 180.
Okay. Well, you heard it from the man, guys. Check out his channel. I'm sure you'll see some really cool stuff there. Okay, we're going to move on now. We've got Scratch and Jack from the amazing plastic modeling community. How you doing, Jack, and welcome.
I'm doing good. Thank you for welcoming me, Boyd. And I thought I'd drop by and see how the other half lives. And I got to say, both our communities, both yours and ours over here, are wildly successful. I've been watching the membership numbers continually, steadily rise up. And I hope that we can reach as many modelers of all shapes and sizes, cars, airplanes, sci-fi. They all have something to teach us in the sci-fi community as we can teach them. So what I'm working on is actually the Voyager and the TOS 22-inch cutaway Enterprise, and I'm working on the Enterprise right now. I put the Voyager to rest a little bit until I get my paint orders together. In fact, I'll probably give you a call on the Voyager paint, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. And get some cosmic colors again. And what I encountered is I've been playing a lot with dental acrylic lately, and the cutaway has these indentations. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all over the ship, and they're incorrect. So what I did was I drilled them out, and I filled them with dental acrylic.
Oh, hey, that looks good.
And what the dental acrylic is offering me is not only removing the mistakes on the model, but giving me a nice flush surface to work with. What I'll be doing is when I get the decals for the correct windows, I'm going to have this primed and a little bit of polish on it, maybe with some polyurethane, and then put the decals on it and drill the new windows in. And the dental acrylic is actually slightly harder than a styrene, so it's going to keep its shape when I corner, make the windows nice and neat and everything. Also, what I'm doing on that is cutting out the intercoolers. I don't know if there's light coming through it.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll be lighting up the intercoolers because all the ships have intercoolers that are lit, and these will be lit too. I put a piece of styrene over, and it didn't work as well. Painted clear blue on styrene, and it didn't work. So this way, I'll have a nice clear one, and have blue LEDs lighting it from behind. And I also have the JT graphics to cover these too, just the same. And so that's pretty much where I am at right now. And I'd like to show you more of the Voyager, but I want to keep that for my video series on YouTube. So,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
No, that's fine, Jack.
Because I shed blood on that model kit already.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Modeling can be dangerous, everyone. Practice safety at all times. Jack, tell our viewers a little bit more about where they can get the dental acrylic and a little bit about how you work with it.
Well, on my YouTube channel, I did make a video specifically showing how I put the windows in the Voyager. I got it from a company called Lang Dental, oneword.com, langdental.com. And I show the label on my video. It's an orange label. That's the best I can tell you. Wait a minute. I have it right here. What am I talking about? It is the OrthoJet in the orange label.
Okay.
Just navigate through their website to find it, and it comes in two parts. I have the powder here. They give me a bottle to dispense the powder through. It comes out like a liquid. The powder is so fine. And then this bottle is the activator. It is a liquid. And they give you an eye drop, but I bought myself a dispensing bottle that you would use for glue. Okay. It does have a really distinct odor, and you basically fill the cavity up. You tape masking tape on the one side of the hole, fill it up nice and healthy, like a little heaping, not too flat. You want it nice and heaping because it kind of like doesn't shrink, but it kind of like oozes to the side and it levels out. And what I have found is if you put the powder in and tap the model with like I don't know, with a file or something gently, to get that powder to settle into the corners, you'll get better results and less bubbles. And then you just add the drops of liquid liberally and get it nice and wet. It sets in about a minute or two and cures in about an hour. It is, I'd say it's translucent. It's not completely transparent. It wouldn't be good if it was transparent because you'd have to fog it up anyway to just, break up the light coming through it anyhow. I tried, the canopy glue like you do. I tried everything and nothing worked for me. And this is the only thing that works for me. This 1 pound kit is about $84.
Whoa.
And yeah, that's with delivery. That's with delivery though. That's with delivery. And I probably used not even a tenth, probably a fifth of this jar of powder already. So I've been using it like crazy and experimenting with it, and I just love the results.
Awesome, Jack. Well, those are some great tips to pass along. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Jack, one of the things that I've heard about using that is that since it tends to be a little bit runny or whatever, that you're probably only going to be able to do like sections of windows at a time, right? You're going to have to do little sections, so you have to keep it laying flat or whatever. And
well, as you notice on the hull of the Enterprise here, it is curved. And you do want to work using gravity to your favor. But this stuff sets so fast, once the shininess of the liquid is gone, you can actually start, twisting and turning it, and it won't fall out.
Okay.
So this took me about 15 minutes to do with all the little holes in it. But it doesn't take much time for it to set, to get hard enough so it won't fall out, and then of course in an hour it's completely cured. And that's when I pull the tape off.
Very cool. Appreciate that, Jack. Okay, up next we've got Scott Freeberg with us. Good evening, Scott, and welcome.
Hey guys, I'm Scott. I'm from Northeast Atlanta, and just starting on my Germany Revell JJ prize. Haven't gotten too far with it yet. All I've done so far is basically drill some holes for fiber optics I'm going to be using right here. So just barely getting started with that. I did finish my old Enterprise 530 refit. Finally got that painted with a dull coat and to display. I've got it sitting right here, but it's ready to put on display. Good to go.
Oh wow, that looks beautiful, Scott.
Yeah, thanks. It's got its warts here and there. I had to print some of my own decals that I got from it's Arthur Pendragon I downloaded, which that was a whole learning experience. I'd never done that before, but they turned out all right. it looks great from 2 feet away. Any closer than that, then you can start to see stuff. I did find in my old bag of models an old Enterprise D that I did, which is currently in saucer separation mode. So I gotta fix that. But all I did, I just painted it, put decals on it. I didn't light it. I probably built this 15 years ago at least, so I've got to fix that. And at some point, and that's minor. That's just need to reglue it. Then looking forward to getting started on the JJ prize. So that's next in my things to do. So that's about it from here.
Very nice, Scott. Are you planning on lighting your Into Darkness Enterprise? Or
I am. Yeah, I've been watching. I guess it's Aztec Dummies build, Lou's build on his kit, and of course I've watched yours quite a bit, Boyd. So I've got a lot of good pointers on what to do and how to do it. Since I haven't really worked extensively with LEDs, my old refit was basically all incandescent lamps. So I do have some strip LEDs that I'm going to be lighting the saucer, the nacelles, and the engineering hull with. The fiber, like I said, I'm going to use for the strobes, nav lights, and then the registration spots, which are really tiny, but we'll see how those come out. Lou's looked really nice, so that gave me an idea to try to duplicate that. So I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Very nice. Now, Scott, you mentioned that you got some decals from Arthur Pendragon. Were those downloaded from over at Starship Modeler?
They were, yes. Basically, I just got his strongback decals. I did buy a set from a vendor that they weren't the greatest quality, and they didn't hold up even after I sprayed them with Bonder. They scratched really easily, so I pretty much trashed them even before they got into the water. So I didn't want to buy another set. I found his downloadable decals, so I printed myself, and like, what the heck, I'll try it, and it worked fairly well. I just used tester's paper on a inkjet printer, and use that. So the biggest the hardest part was just trying to get the scale correct. I don't know what scale he had those over there for the 537 or the 350, but I had to scale them down and had to trim the strongbacks a little bit to make them fit. All the decals around the navigation dish were fine. The pylons were fine. It's just like the strongbacks for some reason were larger than I think what they should have been, but I got them to work, so I'm happy with the way it turned out.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a great resource over there if anybody hasn't checked it out over at Starship Modeler. There's a whole file section over there of downloadable decals for different models, including a really nice set for the, I believe it's the 450 scale Defiant, which everybody knows how hard those panels are to paint on that one. So there's a complete set of markings for that model over there as well. I think there is a program out there called Vector that people are using for doing the resizing of those decals to change the scales on them. I don't know a lot about the details on that, but you might search around for that if you're doing a lot of decal printing.
Yeah. I was just trying to resize it in my printer, and it was a lot of... I probably printed off at least 30 trial pieces of paper just trying to get the scale right, and finally said, well, let me just go with this. It's close enough, and I'll trim to make it fit, and it worked fine.
Good old modeler's ingenuity. I love it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Scott.
Sure,
okay,
thanks.
Up next, we've got Phil Robeson again with us. Good evening, Phil, and welcome back. I think you're muted, Phil.
That might help, mightn't it?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Doing a bit more on the NX-01. I've done my light blocking on the saucer and the nacelles, and I'm doing something a little bit different. I've actually mounted my sidewalls in advance to do the light blocking, and just to do this build different to what I normally do. I'm actually going to paint the parts in advance. Normally I build, then mask, then paint, and I'm lousy at masking, so I'm doing something a little different. I picked my color, which is a Duplicolor GM Pewter Metallic, which I think is going to look really nice, and of course I've got the rattle can, which I'll decant to the into bottles for the airbrush. And at the moment, I'm just sort of, I put in these little tubular doovie thingies, which is a good scientific description for them, but they serve no purpose. So to me, I'm kind of thinking I might put some very, very soft, glowing green fiber optics in there just to make them do something, because otherwise I don't see the purpose of them. But so the NX01's coming along, and I'm going to photograph that build periodically as I go. And this week, just quickly, my other passion is military aircraft, and I'm going to be doing the Memphis Belle also during this build, which is the
nice.
148th Revell. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
Cool, Phil. I think those little round things you're talking about are the torpedo launchers on that ship.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you. That makes sense. Okay,
Either
so
that or
it's
the-
good to know what they are.
Looking forward to that one and your B-17. That's a large scale for the B-17. That should be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's going to make Revell do a couple of nice 148th aircraft. They do the B-52 bomber and the B-17s, and yeah, it's a good scale, and they're fun to build. So I'm looking forward to doing that one. Yep.
Awesome. Well, I think Phil is a former Australian, or lived formerly in Australia. We've got another Australian friend with us here tonight, and that's Heath. Welcome aboard, Heath.
G'day everybody, how are you?
Oh,
Hello.
Doing great.
That's good. Just before I go on, I'd just like to, specifically to you, Boyd. I just
Heath,
like
you're breaking up.
yeah, it's my damn computer. It's so old and everything like that. I can't. Being between jobs and play, you can't really afford a new computer. So, anyway, as I was saying, I was commenting as I commented to Boyd's your model build up. I just wanted to everybody, including me, in this community, and I appreciate it because I've been looking for something like this. And now that I'm in the community, I'm blessed to have such great people who not only help but also discuss one of my favourite topics, which is modelling. So thank you, Boyd, for doing this, and everybody else.
Oh, you're very welcome, Heath, and we're glad to have you with us. And I'm glad you're enjoying the model. I'm having a lot of fun building that up myself.
Well,
Pretty cool model kit.
Yeah. I've actually got a few models I'm not sort of working on, but I'm in the process of working on after I finish the Enterprise. I've got not many people know that I also do Formula One model cars. I've got a few of my favourites here. This one's my ultimate favourite. This is a McLaren MP44, which is from the last cars of the turbo era. And this is the one that Senna and Alain Prost drove, the 115 out of the 16 races. So that's probably going to be one of my next ones, which is a nice one. That's probably going to be coming up after I finish the Enterprise. So that's the model I'm going to be doing after. I've got plenty more too, so I just don't have time to show them all.
That looks exciting too.
Oh, I know that this is mainly like sci-fi models and stuff and all that. I just sort of show people that I just don't do stuff. So I do. Like Phil, doing aircraft as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll just let everybody know that, primarily we do talk a lot about sci-fi models, and I have a forum, Sci-Fi Model Action, but on here, when we do our Hangouts, guys, it's wide open, so anybody that's building anything is welcome on here to help pass along tips and things about the different types of models that they're building, whether it's cars, airplanes, or spaceships. All are welcome. So
Yes, I'd like to add something to that, Boyd. I've been hanging out with the car builders, and I learned so much about painting from them. I learned technique and how to get the right finish, and they're calling on us to mix paints because there's no sci-fi set colors out there in the market. All the all the paints are in regular military or model car colors, and we end up having to mix them. But watching them do it and seeing the techniques, so I agree that sci-fi modelers can learn a lot from car builders, and the other way around. In fact, I have a car builder that's always built cars, and now I'm sending him an 18-inch TOS Enterprise to build. And he wants to light it too,
That's awesome, Jack. Yeah, I mean, I had fun this last week. I actually built a car model and posted it on a couple of communities around there. I built the old, I have the box right here, but this old vampire van, and I had a whole lot of fun building that. I hadn't built a car model in probably 20 years, and it's always fun to hop around to the different genres once in a while and do something a little bit different and keep your skills up on some of those different things too. So, yeah, I mean, we're all into all kinds of modeling here.
I mean, ever since I did my first hangout here with you guys, I've been I can't wait for the next one. I just can't wait to steal you guys. I mean, down in Australia, it's because sometimes, I mean, where I am, you get called a bit of a geek because of doing modelling, and if it's a Star Trek, or if you're doing a model, you're looked upon as being a bit geekish or a nerd, you know.
Uh-huh.
If you're doing a car model, perfectly fine.
Well, we're getting out the word on that. It won't be long, and we'll conquer the universe.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, the model train guys are very interesting too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They do a lot of scratch building and detail work and all kinds of things. Yeah,
absolutely. When you look at doing scenery, they're a great resource for doing things like the Arboretum in the 1701. Interesting guys.
Very much so.
Well, that's enough from me, boy.
Okay, Heath, well, it's glad to have you with us again. We're going to move on now. We've got David Hames with us. How you doing tonight, Dave? And welcome back, and take it away.
Hi everybody. Dave Hames here with Trek Builder. Just so you know, if you're interested in checking out my channel, it's my YouTube channel is Trek Builder. Last week was my first week joining on these Hangouts, and I just want to say thanks again, Boyd. I appreciate the invite, and it's great to get to meet fellow modelers and learn about what they're working on, learn some new YouTube channels to go to, and share techniques. That's what it's all about, and I love it. Like I mentioned last week, I'm currently working on Voyager, and since last week I don't have a whole lot else finished. It's been really humid here, so I'm just finishing painting. I'm getting the primary colors on the nacelles, and I just got this nacelle is primered, and I'm just waiting for it to dry so I can go through. I got some touch-up work. One thing that I am starting to realize, being that this is my first real kit that this is my first kit that I'm lighting. It's also the first kit that I'm actually paying a lot of attention to seams and putty work, and I didn't notice. I didn't have it that much on this side. This side I've got my primary color already laid down, and this one turned out really good. This is the second one I'm working on, and I have a little bit more gaps on this one than I did that one. So after I laid down the primer, I already puttied it for the most part, but then when I laid down my primer, you really do notice which areas you didn't catch.
Right.
So primer is a good reference point, at least the first coat anyway, to catch what gaps you have or whatever you need to smooth out. But that's where I'm at on my Voyager. I'll probably post a more in-depth update on my YouTube channel when I get to it, probably another week or so.
Well, sounds good, Dave. Glad to hear you're back to working on models again. I know you took a little time off, but this draws you back in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's fun. It's, having hangouts like this, or, even sci-fi model action, forums where you can go to, and not only just for your own projects that you're working on, but I mean it's really interesting and cool to see everybody else's projects as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I get a real big kick out of having these hangouts myself to check out everybody's work, and everybody's got such excellent ideas and tips to pass along. Just when you think you've heard it all, there's always something new.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Boyd, that I didn't watch your. I think you just posted a video today on your first build on your Yamato.
Yes.
I haven't gotten to that video yet, but I watched the out-of-box review, and I think you may have saw my comment, but I swear to God, that's got to be the largest model kit I've ever seen. That thing is.
It's a whopper, yeah. It really is. I'm going to have to add an addition onto the house here so I'll have a place to put it.
I know nothing about. I know nothing about the show, or I tried watching it, but it was it's not in English, and that really irritated me.
Well, Dave, yeah, I saw that post, and I don't know if I mentioned to you. If you watch that on YouTube, you click the CC button down there, and it'll put up the English subtitles.
Yeah, I saw that, but I get very distracted, and it's tough for me to pay attention to a movie while I got to read a book.
Gotcha.
But I mean, outside of that issue, I mean, it looks like a cool show, and it's too bad I don't know a whole lot about the show or the ship itself, but I mean, if you're into ships, or even if you're not, that looks like a really sweet kit to build.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, guys. Well, Dave. Oops, we got somebody cutting in there. Heath, were you going to say something?
On that point, I noticed on the boxes that it's remote control. Remote control, is that correct?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's all remote controlled. You can move the guns, and you can fire the cannon thing in the front, and you can turn the engines on. You can drop the anchors. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that thing will do.
David, check out the video. You've got to see the job Boyd has done just on the stand for the darn thing. It's brilliant.
Oh, I guarantee you I'll be watching that before the end.
Thank you, Phil.
No, my pleasure, Boyd. I tell you, your work, man, it's something to aspire to.
Yep.
It really is.
Oh, I really appreciate that.
That's true.
Hear, hear. All
right, guys. Well, up next we have Chris Whitford. Go ahead, Chris.
My name is Christopher Whitford. I am known as D-Lots 1701A on Sci-Fi Model Action. I'm also owner of the Google Plus community, Sci-Fi Fans and Modelers United. As a matter of fact, we're about to have our first upcoming Iron Modeler Challenge group build.
Yeah, check this out, guys. This sounds like a lot of fun.
In which, can you build a model, paint it, and decal it in a week? That's the challenge.
How small?
Yeah. 1/1000 and up.
It's limited to 350 scale and above.
Oh, great.
No, it's 1/1000 and up. No Cadet Series ships. Just want to make it a little bit challenging. The idea came from Wonderfest. I don't know if any of y'all know what Wonderfest is, but it's a modeling convention that's held each Memorial Day in Kentucky. And one of the after-hours events is Iron Modeler Challenge, which you have to build a model within 72 hours.
Wow.
And they present you with a kit. I just kind of modified it for the group's use. You can take any kit you want, as long as it's 1/1000 and up, has to be brand new, and see what you can build within a week. So far, Boyd's already accepted the challenge. I'm putting my money on him.
No. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of competition, and I'm just really looking forward to it. I was going to show you guys, I won't interrupt you too long, Chris, but this is what I've decided to enter with. This is the little 1/1000 scale refit kit. And
are you going to light it?
No lighting, but a little modifying I'm decided to do, guys, and some of you may not have seen this little kit. Are any of you guys familiar with Brad Hare out there, who does a lot of fiber or aftermarket resin stuff for some of these models?
Yeah, I've known Brad for years.
Okay, well, I ordered this. I've always wanted to have a replica of the self-destructed Enterprise from Star Trek 3.
Sweet.
So he makes this really detailed resin blown-up saucer. And then I've also ordered the if I can get them out of here. Paragraphics makes a really nice battle damaged photo etch set for the 1/1000.
Oh, cool.
And you see you've already got your holes in there, and you've got some sub underlay kind of details that you put on, and so that's what I'm doing for the contest. I hope you guys will join in. It sounds like a lot of fun to me. And you can go over to Chris's Sci-Fi Modelers United Google page and find out all the information about the rules and everything and when it's actually going to start. So
Yeah,
that said, take it away there again, Chris.
Yeah, we're going to have a entry period which goes from September 7th to September 14th, and the actual contest will take place from September 14th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to September 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And have your finished photos into the... I have a special category set up for the gallery to have people enter their final results there by 8:30. But
that sounds like a lot of fun.
So please come check it out. What I've been working on this week is my 12500 Reliant.
Wow,
looking good.
See, I've got the decals starting on the top side, bottom side. I've still got to do the warp nacelles and the sides. Another thing I've been working on this week is my 89 Batwing. I don't know if you can actually see it or not.
Oh, there's the man himself at the
I've got
controls.
Bat's in there with his symbol on.
That's nice.
Wow.
So I'm trying to get this ready for these ready for a contest I've got coming up in September.
Chris, are those Batwing kits readily available, or is that an old kind of a vintage kit?
Well, there are repops out there on eBay that you can get for about $20.
Okay.
I see. This particular kit I got at a IPMS contest back during the May for about $10.
Not bad.
But there are only two issues, and the way you can tell them apart. One is the 89 original, just has a picture of the Batwing model. The other one has a picture of Batman with the model.
Okay.
But they're essentially the same kit.
Very cool.
And like I said, Trek Builder, I think he is. I just got one question to ask you.
Sure.
Are you ready for Dragon Con this weekend?
Yeah. What's that?
Are you ready for Dragon Con to invade Atlanta this weekend?
I've not heard of it.
Oh, maybe you're thinking about me. I live in Atlanta.
Okay.
I went a couple of years ago, and it's quite a spectacle to see. You see all kinds of stuff walking around. It's pretty interesting. So, but it's it's in about 5 major hotels in downtown Atlanta, and it's quite a hoot. So,
wow, that sounds huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's been going on for a while here. William Shatner's supposed to be there this year. Several other Star Trek alumni from the various series, some Battlestar people, Farscape. There's just a bunch of people there. So it's a pretty interesting thing to see. I'm gonna try to make it there Saturday if I can get out of the house. So try to spend some hours down there.
You'll have to take some pictures you can show us next time there, Scott.
Yeah. I'll see if I make it there. We'll see.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
We've got a convention happening over here in September, and we've got Nichelle Nichols over here in Adelaide, and we've also got the lovely Erin Gray, Wilma from Buck Rogers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to, cross fingers. I'd love to meet Nichelle. I would absolutely love to meet Nichelle. I've always been secretly an Uhura fan.
We understand.
But my favourite character from the original series is the old science officer, Spock.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked Spock. But go on, sorry.
That's all right. Chris, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it. Like I said, I want to wish everybody a happy Labor Day. And I hope y'all have a good weekend.
Yeah, same for me, everybody. We got that one coming up this weekend.
Awesome.
Okay, up next on deck we have Chad Servinsky. Take it away there, Chad, man.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to see
Great.
everybody
Thank
tonight.
Hey, Jack.
Oh, let's see. What am I doing right now? Well, the Defiant is drying as usual.
As
Yeah.
usual.
As
So
usual.
it's just when it's just when you're trying to go back in and after you strip paint, you go back in and redo it again. It just seems no matter how hard you try, they're just, I don't know, just things just like to stick to it too much. It's insane the amount of blemishes that just pop up out of nowhere. So
Do you wash your models before primer, before paint?
Oh
before
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this thing was soaked in simple green for 2 days to strip the first layers off of it from the first time. So, but like I said, I kind of set myself up for some problems because I've tried so many different things on it. The latest thing I tried was some of the new Vallejo surface primer, the polyurethane acrylic stuff. And this stuff's great, but it's only great on new, untouched plastic. I found that out. So I had to wait for it to basically cure. You can't sand it for at least 3 days. It takes that long to cure. If not, it just peels right up. So that dried, fixed some more blemishes, and just went back to the stuff. So while that's drying, I've just been working on one of the little E's. This series, just decals now, and I've also been working on real grade Justice Gundam, which I've just been messing around with just one leg, trying to see what part of the armor panels I'm actually going to end up painting and stuff, because there's so many different layers of armor that goes on these things, and you can see the articulation in this one is just crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, too bad we don't have space on here. He'd be going gaga right now.
Nice to have some Gundam representation going on. Yeah. That's a very popular subject in the modeling world.
Well, you know what it's like now, man, working on a Bandai kit. I mean, they're just amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Like you were saying in your video, how the, the gates are molded, so where you cut off your nub marks, they're hidden.
Right. That's
know,
just a fantastic touch that saves us all a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, they just do. So there's just, I can't believe that so much.
Are you listening, round two?
Yeah. I can't believe so much engineering and money goes into literally a $30 kit, but that's why these things are sold out. Like, you go, if there's certain ones that people love and you go on to Hobby Link Japan or wherever, I mean, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
People are paying big bucks for them,
Yeah.
So, but I mean, where do you see a piece of sprue that's molded in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors?
Yeah, isn't that something?
On the same one, and every one of them is just beautiful. Like if you look straight down it,
no warping, no flash, no anything.
Right, and like you were saying, you see like down here how the gates, you'll cut those off right there, and they'll be at the bottom or the back, and you don't have to worry about things like that. It kind of makes you see how far you want to take it. Do you really want to paint something that's so nice? Do you just want to flat coat it and detail the crap out of it? So we'll see what happens. I've got a master grade, which is their larger scale, that I'm going to work on. And it's just the regular first Gundam that everybody knows, the RX-78, and I think I'm going to probably paint him and do a lot of stuff, because just seeing how people make these robots come to life is pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
it is cool.
I haven't watched many of the shows, you know, but I got mad respect for the modelers and the kits, you know, especially the ones that take it the extra step and do all the painting and mixing. And you know, I've got paints to mix these colors with and stuff if I want to, but we'll see how it goes.
Very cool stuff, Chad.
Just nice working on something beautiful and clean after the freaking Defiant back there. Gosh, that thing is aggravating sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
there can be ups and downs with the Defiant, and that kit is actually really hard to find as well for people that are looking to build that one out there. So maybe round 2 is going to redo it. Maybe they'll correct some of the issues it has too along the way. We can always hope.
I doubt it with them. So, but you know, from the first time, if I would have been better going at it the first time, it would have been fine. But I did a lot of things that were stupid that made myself it made it even more difficult. And then, you know, not having the right clamps and knowing how to tape and thinking that I have to glue something together in 5 minutes and that I could actually take 2 days to do it and get better results, you know. Just things like that when you know, like getting rid of locating pins and gluing halves together yourself, you know, that just saves so much seam time and effort. You know, I always wondered why you sanded like your seams, because it would seem like when the model kits go together, they wouldn't, you know, you'd have bigger gaps. But like, you know, I get it now because you were compensating, you know, for other weak areas of the model. So,
Right. Yep.
So it's kind of a good practice with a lot of these Trek kits. I think a lot of people would have a little bit easier results if they just scrapped locating pins and everything like that altogether and just focused on gluing the pieces together. So I know the gentleman all the way there on the right, Lewis, is it?
No, it's Adam.
His
That would be Leon.
Leon. Okay.
Leon, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, his Trek collection is just amazing, and I just look at all those saucer halves that have to go together, and I'm like, man, how many round seams did he have to deal with?
But it was a lot of fun doing it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I think we should be happy that Airfix don't make any Trek models.
Airfix, huh? They've had to really get a lot of the British modelers that I watch and stuff are really happy with the level of their kits now, their fit and stuff.
Someone else own Airfix?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I grew up with Airfix and Revel, and, you know, you can complain about round 2, but it's all in degrees. Revel kits. I haven't even really looked at my JJ Enterprise yet, which is a Revel model, but every Revel kit I tackle is a horror in one way or another. But I'm tackling my third or fourth round 2 now. All my alien models were from round 2, and I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. But I guess the moment I open that Bandai that I've got my eyes on, I'm gonna have a different opinion too.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna search out. I've seen a lot of really cool Bandai kits that they have. A lot of like really cool space kits, like you know, full astronaut suit and EVA gear. I've seen that one around. I've seen like some kind of Soyuz or ISS or something, and I just can imagine how great those things. I wouldn't even want to attempt one of those yet because I'm afraid I would do it injustice because they just look so perfect.
Yeah, I got introduced to Bandai by building up all of their Star Trek kits, and they just from that first time I ever worked with them there, you found out really fast. They're just, you know, those are all pre-painted, and even the paint jobs on them are phenomenal. I mean, all the Aztec detailing and everything is perfect on them, you know. So, but they're a little bit on the steep side as far as price goes. But you know, I think all the model manufacturers are starting to strive to do a little bit better now. There's a lot of competition out there. So hopefully we will see an improvement across the board. Okay, well, up next we've got Adam, who's with us tonight. Adam, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm just fine, Boyd. I'm a regular at Sci-Fi Model Action. I've got back into modeling well over 10 years ago, and I actually started modeling back in 1976. So I took a long break and went into RC modeling for a number of years, got back into that too. And I'm a regular contributor at Sci-Fi Model Action, and sometimes I do stuff on YouTube. We've got a new build going on. Some of you guys may or may not know this one.
Yes, I know that one.
Yeah, the fine molds.
Yeah, that's the one I destroyed because I don't know how to
finally
read
decided
Japanese.
to do it, huh, Adam?
Oh, yeah. Well, in all the years I've done modeling, I've never built any of the Star Wars fighters. I think I did one AT-AT back in 1984. So since then, it's been mostly Star Trek or anime stuff, whatever. But I had never messed with any of the fine mold models ever. And when I picked this one up in the TIE Fighter, it's just like Chad was talking about. The molding on these Japanese kits are really unparalleled. For example, let me show you something. You can see this.
That's another company I forgot about. I mean, those fine mold kits. I've built the TIE Interceptor and the X-wing, and they're just amazing.
They're sweet, aren't they?
They are.
Very nice. Yep.
This detail right here, this is the back of the ship, and this is where the X-wings will pivot. And you probably need a better. I'll need a better camera to show this to you guys, but the detail on that is very, very crisp. There's no softness or anything like that. So, just kind of wrap that up. This will just be a straight build. There's no lighting in it, and I just want to see how these fare. As far as just a straight build. You have all the decals and some weathering, not too heavy, and work on that and see what that'll do. But it's the Japanese kits. I think there's a lot that your other manufacturers can learn from them. I think that they're everything from the basics, like how to do the runners properly, and also how to do the shapes, even the shape of this thing. Say like the nose. I've seen Rebel. I don't like them very much. I think they've got the profiles wrong. This one does. So. Anyway, that's just my 2 bits on that.
Yeah.
That's really cool, Adam. I just wanted to point out that, like Adam mentioned, he is a regular over at Sci-Fi Model Action, and whenever he does a build-up, he's got a really good reputation over there for doing really detailed logs of all of his builds, and talks a lot about what he's doing all the way through it, what he finds with the kits and things like that. So for somebody that's looking to possibly build one of these and looking for information about it, you'll find Adam's thread going on over there when he starts the build, I'm sure, and he's got several other builds over there. He's done a really thorough build log on.
You have not started that one yet, right?
Oh no.
Okay. That's a 1 sec. Is that a 1/72nd scale?
Oh yeah, I failed to mention that. This is a 1/72nd scale, and I think there's other scales available. I think like 148 or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one I built. It's the 148.
Well, is that the motorized one?
Beg pardon?
Is that the motorized one?
No. No,
Because this one, that one there is the motorized one.
That's the AMT motorized one, yes.
Right.
By motorized, what do they mean? The wings open up on it?
Yeah, the wings open up and the canopy opens up.
Oh wow, I've never even heard of that. That's pretty cool.
The Pro Build series X-Wing.
Adam, I seem to recall that fine models strive to make their scales correct. So their 1/72nd scale TIE Fighter is correct in proportion to their 1/72nd X-Wing fighter, B-Wing, etc. Do you recall that?
Yes. I did some research on these, and I have seen some build-ups before many years ago. As a matter of fact, I don't think these are a new press. They're probably about 2001. But on Starship Modeler was one of the first modeling websites I had gone onto when I first got onto the web. And yes, when they started making these series, they are very close. And you know, if somebody's a real fanatic about that kind of stuff, this is the direction I would recommend.
Yeah.
On Hobby League Japan's website a couple of months ago, there was a big, it's actually on their YouTube channel too, they went to all of the, there was some kind of big festival or show going on in Tokyo, and they went to all the individuals' booths to show what they were doing this year, and they went to Fine Molds, and they were showing, you know, the Vader TIE Fighter, but they actually were showing the, like the process that they went through where they were photographing it, and measuring it, and documenting it, and everything. So it was pretty neat to watch that and see how they, because everybody's like, oh, they're just repopping this and that, and it's like, no, they actually started from scratch and made the thing perfect. They didn't use any pieces off of a TIE Fighter or a TIE Interceptor or anything. So,
yeah, I've seen that too, and that to me is, you know, a very high watermark as far as just as kits go. This is something you would expect somebody who builds models for, say, like a museum. If you, some of the stuff you'd find that's, you know, a lot less expensive or a little less intense would be something you can build for a studio. And for a lot of studio models, there's lots of boo-boos and things that are not quite right because they're building on a very tight schedule. But if you're building for, say, like something going to the Smithsonian, you know, I dare say you can take one of those and pass, and not a problem.
Interesting.
I believe it.
Very cool, Adam. Thanks for showing us that, and we're all looking forward to following along with the progress on that. It's a really nice model kit.
Well, this will be it. So, yeah, yet again.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'll just show you a little bit real quick about what I've been working on here. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We'll be doing that 1/1000 refit for Chris's contest, but I have just finished up the base for the 350 Yamato.
Oh, wow.
And this is quite a beast already. But what I basically did with this is it's molded in black plastic, but we wanted to take this to a higher level here, so you know, with regular molded plastic, you can see kind of some of the swirling with the mold and some imperfections in it here and there. So I basically sanded this down with 1000 grit paper, and then put some of my adhesion promoter on it and sprayed it down with some satin black, and then I top coated it with some satin clear, and then we put the decals and things like that on it. But this has a built-in speaker audio system, and it has a jack on the back of it here where you can put an audio out too, so if you want to make a connect it to an audio system for, you know, so the sounds can be louder. But this part right here is the sort of the brain of the electronics inside the model, where everything is routed through, and you can see on the top there are a bunch of jacks where all the different wiring harnesses. This just plugs in with a socket on the top here. And so now that the base is done, I'll be moving on to the first part they had you working on with the instruction sheet is laying down the keel of the model and then just basically working your way up. So I wanted to point out too that my friends Jerry and Dave from over at Sci-Fi Model Action are helping me out with a really nice display base that we're going to set this on top of, that will have some backlighting and some nice pictures of the ship from the way it was depicted during the show. There's like a schematic drawing, and there's a couple of action shots and a big backlit picture that will sit behind it. So we'll show that when it's all finished up, and I'm really excited. Dave and Jerry do some really cool work with custom bases and things like that. So I've mentioned them before, but if there's anything ever special you're building and you want to design, have a really nice base built for it, you can always contact them over at Sci-Fi Model Action, and they'll work with you on that.
Boy,
So,
that base looks pretty big. What is the length of the ship itself?
the ship itself is right around 30 inches, 30, 31 inches, something like that.
Wow.
The base here is about 18 inches. So yeah, the actual base that we're going to make that this base here will sit on top of it, and there are going to be built-in speakers in that, which are a little bit more oomph than the speaker that it comes with, and it'll have a little built-in amplifier system and like I said, some backlit pictures. And the base itself that it'll sit on will be just about as long as the ship, so about 28 inches or something like that. That's going to turn out pretty cool. Jerry's already sent me some concept pictures of it, and I'm really excited about that. So.
Hey Boyd, is that now is the motto? I believe you have two of them, right? Is one of these a client's?
Yes, this first one that I'm building is for a client. The second one that I'll be building a little bit later on will be for me. I'll probably get to that sometime later this winter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Boyd, I've got to go, mate. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day or night or whatever, and I'll see you all next time.
Okay,
See you,
Heath. Glad to have you with us
Bye.
again.
Okay. See ya.
Yeah, I'll be going to. Thanks for inviting me there, Boyd. It was very much a pleasure talking to you guys and listening and seeing everything you all have to do. You gave me a few more ideas, put me back a little further on my deadline. So I really appreciate it. So
All
see
right,
you later.
Jack.
Bye
Glad to
now.
have you with us again.
See you guys.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess it's time now to kind of go around the room here a little bit and see if anybody has any specific questions or any comments they want to talk about, anything specific. The floor is open.
Yeah, Boyd, if I can just quickly ask you, what brand of canopy glue do you use? There seem to be a few out there, and I'm not sure which one would be the right choice.
Well, let me see. I may have the bottle where I can reach it here real quick. Let me grab that for you real quick here.
Thank you.
Is it the Formula 560 canopy?
Yes, that's it exactly.
I don't know if you can see a picture of it.
Here's what the bottle looks like.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, they have this at my local Hobby Lobby, and
They have it at
also
Hobby Lobby,
over at Hobby
really?
Town.
Okay. Well, they may have it at my Hobby Lobby too. Good. Thanks.
Well, maybe somebody out there can tell me, has anybody ever used ultraviolet glue and the light for plastic models yet?
What kind of glue?
Ultraviolet glue? I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
No.
You know, the same stuff that they put on nails and you know women's nails and stuff. I've been watching YouTube videos on that, and they use them on glass, plexiglass, and everything.
Is that a glue that sets up under ultraviolet light?
Yes.
No.
I see.
Hmm.
And what are the properties of that? What makes it unique, Leon, that makes it where you'd want to use it over regular glue?
I think it will stick a lot better and faster, really.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Of course, the glue's $1.50 and the ultraviolet light to set it off is $203.
Well, that could
Well, I
be.
tell you what, I'll try it because I just ordered some, and I'll give it a try this weekend. And if it works, I'll let you guys know next week.
Okay. We're always interested in hearing about new things and products, so yeah, that'd be great, Leon.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
I have a question. Now, your NX01.
Mm-hmm.
What was that color? It was a duplicolor.
Yeah. I sat here with my wife, who's an artist and is great with color, and I showed her the box, and I showed her Boyd's build, and how he mixed a little bit of black with silver to bring it, make that color darker, and she suggested stainless steel, which I thought, okay, that's not a bad idea. So I went to AutoZone, and because I've had pretty bad experience with the Krylons and whatever with fingerprints, that those paints just don't seem to set up as hard as automotive paints. And I was standing there in AutoZone, and I found titanium metallic, which is fairly light, and I like that color. But all along, I'd felt like pewter was more like the color I wanted to achieve. And as it turned out, they had one can of titanium metallic, which I bought, but they had 2 cans of pewter metallic. So pewter won the day. So it's going to I'm going to paint the saucers with the pewter and see how it turns out. And well, one saucer, and if I don't like the color, I'm going to go to the titanium. I feel with all the detail and the depth of the detail on these saucers, I can spray on a coat of one color, and if I don't like it, I can go over it with another and not lose any detail. So, but I kind of want this to be a little darker. So I'm liking the pewter, and actually, and you can't see it because it's very dark in here. The pewter is very close to the molded color of the actual plastic. So I think it's going to come very close. But webcams are no good. I'll photograph this in the daylight, in some bright light when I've done it, and post it on Sci-Fi Model Action and see what everyone thinks.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I've never been one to advertise what I do because I've never held what I do in high opinion. I mean, I have more disasters than good results, so there's not much that I like to show, and it's only recently when I joined Sci-Fi Model Action that I posted 3 of my best models, which is my Millennium Falcon and my 2 War of the Worlds models, and got the reaction I did that I thought, gee, maybe I'm a little better than what I thought. You know, one's worst critic is oneself at the end of the day. So I'd like to, for my benefit and for everyone else, and obviously there's a lot of guys out there who are just getting into the hobby, I really want to document this one. So I'm going to, I don't know about doing the YouTube stuff, but I'm certainly going to document it and post it on SFMA as I go. And maybe that'll lead to doing a YouTube channel or whatever. But
Google Plus is a good place to start too, right there in the community.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying talking to you guys. I'm learning a lot. So, yeah, there's a few avenues open. Of course, you know, it's a balance between, you know, work, play, and, oh, I need to document this. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I got to learn to balance that.
Phil, I would just say real quick that I would be one that I would hope that you would maybe think about doing YouTube videos in the future, because it's just something that is a lot of fun to do. You'll find that you'll get more and more interested in sharing your work when you get into that. And I'll just tell you from my own personal experience that since doing it for like 2 years now, when you talk about the mistakes and things like that, you know, you shouldn't look at those as like an embarrassing thing or anything like that. I've gotten more comments about when I've showed some of the things on my builds that have gone wrong and how you go back and fix them. People are very interested in that because, you know, it's something you can show people where, like, if there's something that happens on the model, you don't have to throw it in the trash. You can take certain steps to go back and work that issue out and salvage whatever you were doing and move forward. And I think people get you know, a lot of how do you say, it's just kind of comforting for people to know that there's people out there that are doing that. And I think your work is fantastic, the stuff that you've showed on here and everything. And
well,
just speaking for myself, I would encourage you to look into doing that. And I think once you started getting into it a little bit, I think you'd find it very enjoyable. And in my opinion, the more people doing the YouTube stuff and the social interaction that we're doing, whether it's YouTube or Google Plus or forums or whatever, I think the more the better. That's just going to help grow the hobby, and you get to see a wide variety of the different interests and the things that people are working on. So I hope you consider doing that.
Well, thanks, Boyd. Maybe that's just the incentive I need. Thank you.
I agree with Boyd 100%. You should never feel that your work is not good enough, or everybody starts out at some point, and that's the only way that we learn as a community. So,
yeah, that's why my channel's Horrible Modeler.
Well, all right, okay. I'm done. I will YouTube this NX-01 build. Thank you.
I think a lot of people will really appreciate that, Phil.
All right, I'll do that.
Looking
Yeah, I
forward
mean,
to seeing it.
I might be building an NX01 one of these days and run across your channel and say, I just love the way that paint
Yeah,
color.
That's right.
But I'm not
I mean,
going to build it that way.
there could be
You
200,
never know.
There could be 200 videos out there of different people doing the NX01, and I guarantee you'll find something interesting and usable from each one of them.
Yes, and I actually have an NX01. I haven't even started yet, and I know for a fact. I know, Boyd, you've done one. I think Steve Neal did one, but I don't think he videoed it on YouTube.
There's a guy called Helipilot on YouTube who's also did an NX01, and I would say his and Boyd's work are pretty well equivalent. Both of them do beautiful work. Both approached it completely differently, which was very interesting. And you know, I'm working somewhere in between those two. Yeah, okay, I'm convinced. I'll do it.
Well, guys, join me in welcoming. We've got somebody new in. We've got John Robbins. Welcome, John.
Hey, John.
Nice to have you on with us.
Hi, Boyd.
Sorry if it took a little while. We had a full boat here, but we're glad you made it in. John, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're interested in, what you're working on.
I've been modeling for quite a while. I'm just getting back into the sci-fi stuff, and right now I'm working on the NX01.
Hey, we were just talking about that.
Funny about that.
I got the 350 sitting in the closet waiting to be built.
Uh-huh.
Working on the 1/1000 scale refit.
Oh, beauty, yeah.
50 Oldsmobile.
All right.
I model everything, and I'm just getting into YouTube, and I've been following your work for a long time, Boyd. I just started my own channel, Johnny's Chop Shop, and
I like the
doing a lot
title.
of hits and tips for my I run a young modelers club, and I'm doing a lot of hits and tips for beginner modelers.
Awesome. I'm always glad to hear that.
So that's been working out well. We got about 12 kids that come in every Saturday at the museum, and they really enjoy it. So that's one of the reasons we got on YouTube, and besides, I wanted to join in one of these chats.
Very cool, John. Yeah, we're a lot of us make a lot of effort to try to bring young folks into this hobby because it seems like it's all us 40-something-year-old guys that are doing this, and I'm hoping that the word gets out enough and we get young people interested in it, and they'll pick up where we left off and carry this thing on because it's been a lot of fun for me over the years. I know you guys feel the same way, so yeah, encouraging them to join forums and getting workshops together. I've gotten some emails and things like that from people who are trying to do that, so that's always good to hear.
I want to add one thing to that with the encouraging modelers and the socializing. I'm an IPMS member, and for the y'all who don't know what that is, it's International Plastic Modeler Society. And they do things for young modelers called making takes, which clubs will go out and to local malls or theaters or contests or whatever, and do allow a young modeler to make their first model right there. It could be snapped together, it could be super glued, whatever. And you know, earlier y'all was talking about the socialization. There's clubs all across the USA. So I suggest going to the IPMS USA site and checking it out. You may find a club near you, and that's another avenue for model builders.
That's good
I
information,
highly
Chris.
recommend it.
Yeah, I'll point out too that when you're talking about some of those clubs and things like that, that some of them are competition based, but you don't always have to look at it from a competition standpoint. You know, you can go to a model show, take your model there with no intent whatsoever of winning any kind of a prize or anything like that, but you can spend your time wandering around and looking at all the different models and seeing the different techniques people use to put them together, the different ideas that they've come up with on some of the scratch-built stuff and all that. And it's just really cool to check that out. I mean, I'm looking forward to here in San Antonio this year for the first time in years. We're having a Comic-Con coming up in October, and I hear that there's going to be some model vendor people there with some stuff on display, so I'm excited about going and checking that out. But those are just different ways that you can get out into the community, like Chris was saying, and the clubs are organized. I know, Chris, they probably put out newsletters and things like that.
There's, like I said, go to ipmsusa.org, and they are literally clubs in all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm bound to, there's got to be a club near you. Some, like my area, have 2 or 3 clubs in it.
What was that again, Chris? IP what?
ipmsusa.org.
Oh, IPMS USA.
Yeah.
I want to
And
correct you.
their local chapter, like for instance, they do have one here in San Antonio, and they're primarily car building people. They do little shows now and then. They do cars, and I know that they're a little bit of armor and stuff like that. But hey, I mean, they're usually pretty cool. If you show up with some sci-fi stuff or something different, you know, they're not going to kick you out. And by you bringing that stuff in, that may interest some other people that they weren't attracting before. You know, I think that they'd be crazy not to want to expand into all the genres if they're not currently doing that, because there's a wide interest in different types of model building. So if your local chapter is only doing one thing, that doesn't mean they're not open to, you know, checking out some other type stuff. So
one thing I want to add to that, your local clubs, even if they're not doing contests on a regular basis, they're not always competition based. I highly recommend checking out some of the competitions, even if it's not IPMS, due to the fact is you learn a lot by looking at your other people's modelers at these competitions. Due to the fact is you'll see a technique that you might not have known to use. I've competed in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and every time I go, I learn something new. And plus, you get great deals on kits. That's the one thing I can definitely recommend. There's always dealers selling kits at good prices, so you never know what you may find.
good information, Chris. Okay, we're continuing on with the open discussion here, guys. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about, bring up?
Yeah, Boyd, going back to the NX01, what's the difference between the old one and the new release one?
Well, I haven't gotten one of the new releases in my hands yet, Leon, but I was just going to ask a question a minute ago of Phil when he mentioned that the paint was pretty close to what it was molded in. Phil, is that new kit molded in color?
No, it's actually molded in a... It's a very odd color. It's like a dark taupe color. I noticed the box. This must be a new one. Can you see
Yes,
that?
it is.
It's a
Yes,
blue box.
That's the repop.
So that's the repop.
On the front.
I think according to round two, just the box art is new because it says new box art from Doug Drexler.
From what I've seen on YouTube with people building it, the plastic color seems a lot lighter on the old ones.
Yes.
But not having ever seen one, I really can't say. But this is a very brownish gray. Is about the best way I can describe it. Now, of course, the color, the light in here is so lousy. When I hold my metallic pewter against that color, it is so close. This duplicate color. I'll photograph these in the light, some daylight, and post it so you can actually see the color. But it is, it's quite dark.
That's the good duper color too, the perfect match. That's the one I've had the most success with.
You prefer the primer from them, right, Chad?
Yes, the perfect match primer, not
the standard Duplicolor primer. I have not had a good time with. It just doesn't like the sand. It comes off.
Not this one.
That's the one I don't like to use right there. Yeah, it just doesn't sand smooth at all.
This one here.
That's the bad one.
Yeah, I've actually got the primer I use is a plastic primer from Dick Blick. It's pretty expensive. It's probably much similar to what you use, Boyd.
The high build stuff from TranStar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different brand and everything, but it is a specific. Your stuff's clear, goes on clear, or does it have color to it? Yeah, so's mine. So I always prime my plastic with that, which just gives it the top color a bit of tooth.
One thing, Phil, if maybe you could check on the kit. You don't have to answer it now, but maybe update it later. I know, going back to what Leon was asking, the differences. The original kit was designed to be mounted on sort of a tripod setup with little rods that came down off of it, and that was really cheesy.
Yeah, no, this is...
And there were slots cut into the hull for that.
Yeah,
so
no,
they eliminated those slots.
Yeah, this is a single rod. It mounts on a dome base exactly the same as the 1701 kit.
I see.
Yeah, that's all they changed for this kit.
Oh, so it
they
has
molded
that,
it in color,
it's that round
and
dome
they changed
base
the
then?
base.
Yep. Yeah, it's just the round black dome, same as the 1701.
Oh, okay. Is that the only change?
Yeah.
Apart from the possibly the molding color, yeah.
Okay.
The old one had a stand similar to this.
Yep. Here it is.
Yes. That's what I was talking about. And that's not bad on that small model, but on that big guy, it just wasn't that great. That's pretty flimsy for something that big.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same base, so yeah, that's kind of the differences. There may be some others, but without a reference to the original kit, I doubt that they changed their tooling in any way.
Now that tube for it, is that a hollow tube?
No, it's solid.
Oh, it's solid.
Same as the 01.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing that I found out about those two guys.
I apologize. It
is hollow.
It is hollow. I'm sorry.
They were thinking of lighting. That's good.
Yep.
Good.
One of the things I was going to mention about that is that I had been trying to find. I often use these. I'll get one here. I pick up these brass tubes at my local hobby shop for doing different mounting things, and whether I use these or I use some threaded tubing that you can buy over at Home Depot, which is it's actually sold in their lamp repair section. If you've got a broken lamp, you can buy this tube that's got. It's not actually brass; it's just galvanized, but it's been coated to look like brass. But it's threaded, and you can buy the lock nuts and the washers and everything that go on that for mounting models. But interestingly enough, I've been trying to match up the exact same size rods, which these are sold incrementally in inches. And it's when I finally measured out with a pair of calipers, the rods that come with the round 2 kits are actually metric. So you're not going to find an exact match in any of these brass rods. The closest one that I found, I think, is something like, if I can read it here, 7/32 of an inch, and you're going to have to drill the hole slightly bigger in your base to make this fit. If you happen to buy a kit that has the solid tube and you want to replace it with a hollow one, so you can run some wiring through it. I just thought I'd bring that up. But.
Something interesting too. I don't know. I guess you guys you've heard of HeliPilot, but the way he mounted his NX01, which I thought was very interesting, was at Radio Shack. You guys are aware of the audio connector called an XLR connector?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. He actually mounted a male XLR connector in his model, and then mounted the female on his rod, so you can actually disconnect the model from the base without all the wires. I thought that was actually a stroke of genius.
Mm-hmm. Those are actually microphone jack connectors.
Correct.
And you can get those all the way up to 8-pin, but by the time you get into the 8-pin one, you're getting large.
Yeah.
But and you're also limited if you're going to use like the 4-pin connector. You're limited as far as if you wanted to mount your control board down in the base, how many separate circuits come through, because you can only, it kind of pins the amount of circuits you can put in.
Yeah, it kind of demands that you're only running 2 circuits on the one he used. But yes, there are some technical difficulties there, but I still thought it was a pretty good idea.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know
we've got somebody new in here, guys. I didn't even see him coming. We've got Dirk here with us. Welcome, Dirk.
How's it going, guys?
Good to have you with us, Dirk.
Thanks.
Hey, Dirk.
Hello. Pardon?
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dirk, and what you're interested in.
I'm new to this Google Chat stuff and the YouTube forums, YouTube sites, but I've been back in building models for about 5 years now. I'm former U.S. Air Force, so I have a big thing for airplanes, especially World War II stuff. So when I got back into it, that's what I was building mostly. Prior to that, I was always a car guy, muscle cars from the 60s and 70s. So I've been doing a lot of cars also lately, kind of switched over. But also, growing up, I was a big Trek fan. So recently I've been buying up a bunch of kits and hopes and dreams, just like everyone else that seems to be on these sites. I hope to learn how to light them. But I just tried my first lighting gig about a month ago. I built a shipwreck of the USS Yorktown, and I just took one single LED and fed it down to make it look like an ROV. And just as I finished the model, ready to display it, it popped out. It popped. So, one single LED, I couldn't even do it. So I'm hoping to hang around here.
Don't feel bad, Dirk. We all started out there, and
I'm sure you have.
I'll just tell you real simply, Dirk, that it's all about the resistors that you use with LEDs. That's where it's at on lighting. And
this one, I admit I didn't have one in it, but I'm lucky where I live. I have a full-scale hobby shop for plastic and stuff, and then there's also a model shop near me, and they do with a lot of LEDs. So I had spent about an hour or so in the shop talking to the guy, telling him what I wanted to do, and he gave me all the stuff I needed. So I think I did something wrong somewhere along the way. I think I had the correct parts, but somewhere along the line I just screwed it up. Murphy's Law. So
yeah, you'll find Dirk that we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The 1/4 watt 470 ohm resistor will work for 95% of your LEDs.
Right.
That will work from 7 to 12 volts, which is the most common voltage that you're running at. That should cover most of your lighting.
So, I've gotten into the Trek kits, or I want to. Let me put it that way. I've got a bunch of stuff, but each kit that I've gotten, I'm afraid to start it. So what I did go out do, and I ended up getting a couple of the Cadet Series kits. At first, when I saw them, I thought, this is just garbage. Why would you want to build something this small? But then I really started looking at them, and they're really kind of cool. So right now I'm working on 2 C models. I got one just to throw together, get my feet wet, so to speak. And I have a habit of no matter how much I want to go out of the box just to complete something, it never fails that I go off on a tangent. And I just wasn't happy with building the C out of the box, but I already glued it together. So I went out and I bought another one because I wanted to make it like the Yesterday Enterprise with all the battle damage.
Wow, look at that. Cool. That looks just like it, though. I've seen the studio model. That looks just like it.
So
yeah.
I'm doing 2 side by side. I got the battle damaged one, and then I got the other one that I'm just doing out of the box. So it's a challenge, but everything's a journey.
Right.
Enjoy the ride.
That's why this is fun. Yeah.
Yep. So
Very
I'm
cool.
still trying to figure out. At first, I was going to take some small styrene strips and try to lace it in there like the ribbing on the for the saucer.
Right.
And I realized there's just no way I'm going to get any good consistency in it. So I've been sourcing out different things. I brought home a wire mesh that I found. I'm going to try that. The railroad shop also had these little grates for train models to go over the tracks and stuff. But they've got a real fine grade on it for the scale of where the workers would walk on it. I was wondering about maybe if I can cut them out and heat them up a little bit with a heat gun, bend them, but I think I'm going to try the mesh instead, because I'll look for that consistency.
Right.
It may not look exactly like the model, but you're still going to get the effect of the skin of the ship is gone.
Right.
The grid
There's some depth going on in there. Some
That's the idea.
On the side of it, yeah.
Sweet.
So, that's really cool.
Onions come in.
But I'll tell you what, these decals on these they're a lot of work. I probably should have tried painting it instead.
Yeah, the decals for that one are basically an entire wallpaper job. Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing, but a lot of work.
Well, it's the same thing I'm doing with the smaller line here. It's basically a wallpaper job.
Yeah, I got that kit too.
I will make a recommendation for you as far as doing decals for that. Is to break the surface tension of your water, put in some Dawn dish detergent.
Right.
Then take a paintbrush, smear it all over wherever you're putting your decal, and it helps it settle down better, and you don't have as much breakage on your decal.
I'll give it a try.
Good tip, Chris.
Yeah, I'm still working on the top saucer right now.
Seems to me that those 2500 kits are getting really popular. They must be selling a ton of those little guys because everybody and his brother's building them.
I've got ideas now with them that would require me getting, quite a few of these kits. Too bad they don't sell them individually. The group of getting 3 at a time in a box is nice. But if you want to do like I would like to do something maybe where I have all the constellation ships. So the Defiant, the Enterprise, and such together. Mm-hmm. But in order to do something like that, I'd have to get also 8 of the other ships that come with it. I really don't need. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's called Starship Junkyard, man.
What's that?
Starship Junkyard.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, fellas, look here. Try this for size. Take, like Boyd said, brass tubing, and then you get that connector right there. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
What is it?
It's
a back of some type.
Is that a phone connector?
No, not exactly. I forgot.
It's an audio connector of some kind.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it. But you just shape it down and just hook up your wires to it and super glue it right in the brass tubing. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other connector that goes into your ship.
Yeah, it looks like a microphone connector.
Yes.
And then the only thing you have to do is just plug it in like that.
Yeah, I'd be concerned.
And then you can take your ship right. You can take your ship right off.
Yeah, I'd be concerned about a ship the size of a 350 just sitting on a press like that. And I'm not even really considering the XLR connector. I just thought it was a good idea. But the XLR connector has nuts that screw together. So it actually
it's all metal.
It
yeah, it's strong.
that really is just sitting there. I'm not considering it. When I mount mine to the base, it'll be permanent. But for a smaller model, that's a pretty good idea.
For a smaller model like the NX-01 or oh gosh.
Even the JJ Prize would be okay sitting on something like that. It's not
like the Enterprise.
Yeah, even that small Rebel, NX.
By the way, we're not supposed to call it that, guys. We're supposed to call it the Into Darkness Enterprise.
Oh.
People don't like us calling it the JJ Prize.
You know what?
I heard a funny comment on that the other night. For which one was it? Star Trek? Was it? When did they first introduce the E? And Jonathan Frakes directed the movie. Was it?
That was First Contact.
Yeah, so people are saying, should we call that the Frakes Prize?
Yeah.
Why not?
I'll admit, I'm one of the first that I'm annoyed by that name.
Yeah.
So who was threatening you, boy, Brandon?
Yeah, probably. Number one. Yeah.
Going back to the topic you guys were just talking about with the post and the plugs and stuff to remove it, I saw somebody, I forget where it was a while ago, they put some sort of contact tape on the kit itself, and then with magnets, they held the model to the post by magnets.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, there's people doing that.
That looked like it was pretty cool because it allowed you to spin it around, whatever, but it popped right off, and you could do whatever you wanted, put it back on, and it's a really neat idea.
There are internal switches available now too, which are operated magnetically. You mount the switches inside the model, and you wave a magnet over it, and it turns them off and on.
Has contact closure.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's doing that? Is it
Lieutenant Controls?
Maven Lighting? Tenna's doing it. Okay, yeah.
Lighting kit that you buy for the... I didn't use them on the Into Darkness one that I just built, but they come in that kit.
Yeah.
They're a bit fragile. The terminals on the end, you don't want to bend them whatsoever, or the internal mechanism will break.
Right. Pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're building something that you want it to be self-powered, like if you had a battery inside of it, you could pick it up and turn it off and on and all that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Well, I've talked to a modeler or two who wants to take the 350th, install magnets inside the hull, and then have magnets inside the base to have it free floating.
Right. That's what I was talking about. But under the magnets, there was contact tape.
Uh-huh.
So it allowed the power supply, the power to go through the power supply, the base, and into the model itself.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Speaking of free floating, have you guys seen? I think it was Starship Modeler. A guy did the Death Star using the magnetic free floating globe.
Mm-hmm.
That was very sweet. The job he did on that.
Yeah, that would
really
be
sweet. Yeah, really good. Yeah, it's just a little bit of ingenuity.
It never ceases to amaze me when you start looking around on these different media outlets that we have available now, what you'll see out there, some idea and things that people do. It's unreal what you can do.
There's somebody now on Sci-Fi Model Action that's doing a whole handmade custom board cube, and it looks like he's mounting it on top of a light post.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, pretty cool.
And somebody suggested about putting like one of the Cadet Series starships in front of it or around it, you know. Pretty cool idea. He's just basically starting, but it looks pretty neat.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Well, I've been reading that post on the board cube. The thing is, I think he's going about it a different way than I would. You know, everybody talks about, ooh, let's make a board cube, and basically all you need is about 6 things of plexiglass and a ton of model sprue, and if you want to light it, some LEDs. And bam, you get your scratch-built board cube right there.
Isn't that pretty much what they built the studio model with? Some old model sprues and some odds and ends they had laying around?
You can't tell me that they weren't sitting in a model shop when they're coming up and they go, hey guys, check this out. How much you want to bet they buy into this? Throw this on it, and it's a ship. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I kind of like the what was it in First Contact? The actual the round one, the round sphere that came out of it more than the cube.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Actually, the way it ejected from the cube was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was working in a theater to promote First Contact, we built a 4-foot board cube squared using styrofoam. And it's the only board cube in the universe to have the Dave Matthews Band logo on it. One of my employees put big on top. And we put Christmas tree lights in it to light it up and all that.
Now, can somebody tell me what's the story behind this JJ Enterprise compared to when does the NCC 1701 come into play?
It is the NCC 1701.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about the TOS.
It won't, because
between
this
the
is
JJ and then the TOS.
It's alternate
universe.
universe.
As far as their timeline goes, Leon.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think you're going to see it. I think it's like an alternate universe kind of thing, and that's it. That's where they start out.
This is just the original Enterprise in an alternate universe, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice it. I didn't. Apparently, at the end of the last movie, when you see the ship heading out, again after they've had to do some rebuilding on it, they've made a few changes to it. They've called it a refit.
Rechristening.
Right.
Yes. And all I noticed on it was there was a little difference on the back where the impulse engine grills were smaller. Now it kind of went it looked like some kind of car taillights went all the way across the back of the saucer.
Yeah, it was much wider.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Was the ship just fixed, or did they get another one, and rechristen like they've done in the past?
They rebuilt it. They called it a refit.
Difference. They couldn't figure it out. There was they didn't show it long enough to see if there's any major differences.
Right.
It was a repair. They repaired it.
Yeah.
Man, talk about movie magic, repairing all that damage in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
They said it was like a year later.
Yeah.
During the movie, they say it's a year later. Yeah, it says 1 year later or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Revell could have just released that kit and not even put the Into Darkness, and it would have been just fine. Or either.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they had to call it that. But yeah, I've heard that discussed on various forums about how people get upset about calling it the JJ prize. So I try to not call it that, but it slips every once in a while.
Or can we call it the Edsel then?
Yeah.
The JJ Edsel?
It's been called a lot of things.
I don't know. I don't know about you diehard guys or who's diehard, who's not, but I kind of like it. I think it's
cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. It definitely grew on me a little bit when I built the model. From what I'd seen of it on the movies, I was not impressed. But yeah, when you build the model and you see all the little details on it, and you know the markings that are on it, and I kind of dig the way it does that different type of flashing than the other ships did, that double flash and all that. It's pretty cool.
Right.
Well, it helps that you built it so perfect.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when I started on it, I don't like to usually say anything bad on the videos I do, anything like that, because I want to see the model kit manufacturers do well, but I had real concerns on that when I took it out of the box because it is molded very, very thin. But
it's flimsy.
by the time you get it put together and you get the little bulkhead parts put in and everything, it's pretty solid when you get done with it. I was really surprised because I had to do a lot of sanding on it, on the seams and everything, and it held together just fine.
Hey, Boyd, you've been doing YouTube videos now for a couple of years?
Yes.
Okay, so in 2014, we do expect your first blooper episode.
Okay. There have been plenty, trust me.
You need one of those WTF buttons like Steve Neal.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think Simon sent him that or something.
Oh,
yeah.
did he?
Yeah.
Trotus, how is your Into Darkness Enterprise going?
It's going pretty good. I used the orbital dry dock mask on it, and this is the first time I ever used a mask on it. And I masked the whole damn thing, just to do it, just to see if I can actually do it. But the mask is it's pretty easy. It's nice.
Yeah. I'll second that.
And then another thing too. Oh gosh, one section I had the mask on for about a week. I painted it and had it on for about a week, and then I just peeled it off and it came right off.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I heard A Creation. I emailed A Creation a long time ago, but now they said I heard that they were planning, or I think his name is Rob over there. I think he was planning on making a decal kit for that Enterprise. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are going in the direction of decals. It sounds like I hear more people going in the direction of masking.
Well, I think right now that's because there aren't any decals yet.
Right.
But the only thing I would say, again, not wanting to say anything bad, but with A Creation, Rob is he gets behind once in a while over there, and if you're going to buy decals from him, I would recommend you buy them from someone that has them in stock, such as Cult TV Man or some of those other places. We've had discussions about that. I've seen on various forums and things, and a couple of guys have had problems with the decals disintegrating when you dip them in water, because there isn't anything mentioned in the decals when you buy them from A Creation that they need to be coated with. I'll grab my little bottle here real quick. I'll show you.
Boyd, that's actually false. He does on the Galactica decals that I used. It is mentioned that if you're a new modeler, that you do want to spray a couple coats on them with the decal bonder.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good. Well, apparently on some of them, Chad, there is, and there is on my.
I had no problem with those, but
okay.
I've heard of other horror issues. So.
When I built my 350 NX-01, I used the A Creation decal set, and I want to say that they went on perfect. I mean, I've seen where people had cut them down into smaller sections too. And I think it was Helipilot you were talking about there, Phil, where he was showing where he was cutting the. I was able to put them on in just big sections, and had no problem. I used a little bit of Solvacet. But this product right here, made by Allclad, is specifically, it's lacquer based, and lacquer is a little bit more flexible than, say, acrylic type stuff.
Right.
This is specifically made for coating those decals with.
Is it better than testers?
Well, testers is more of a bonder. Okay, that's for putting them down and then spray. What I do with that is I lay them down on the model and spray it, and it'll make them lay down there really nice and flat onto the model.
Oh,
okay. This stuff is for actually treating the decals before you even start with them. You can either brush this on because it's self-leveling, or you can spray it on with an airbrush.
Does it make them stiffer when you go to cut them and lift them?
It makes them stronger, yes. And what it does is it keeps all the ink. If they've been printed on an inkjet printer and they haven't been treated with this, it's going to dissolve as soon as you put it in water. Okay. And
yeah, that's the same thing with these decals, because I put them in water and then I went to peel them off, with my thumb, and they just, fell apart.
Yeah, you have to treat them.
So, how do you treat this?
Just spray some of this stuff on here. Just spray that right on the decals there, Leon.
Or that spray that
you either spray it
decal bonder,
or the decal bonder will work. It's called All Clad.
Okay.
Gloss clear coat. It's lacquer based. But there are several products out there that'll work.
Here's the tester stuff, Leon.
Yeah, I was just going to grab a can of that. Yeah, show them that, Chad. You can buy that at most hobby shops.
And you'll know when you've done it enough.
Wait a minute, hold on, Chad. Let me
hold it down a little lower, Chad, and further back. It's all blurred. There you go.
But now, Boyd, you're saying that the testers at Chris.
The testers will work too. It will work for covering the decals too.
Okay, because
I primarily use that for actually laying them down on the model. When I apply them and dry off the water, I'll spray it with that, and then clear coat over it after that's dry.
Yeah, you're the reason why I bought it, and I ended up using it for that application because it said it in the instructions. So it actually worked out. But
it does work. Yep.
You'll know that you've done it right because you pretty much got to do. I think I did about 4 or 5 real light coats on the ones I did on the Galactica, and the sheet itself will basically just get hard and crunchy kind of. So you'll know that it's ready to go.
Let's talk about one more thing here, guys, because I see this question come up a lot on different YouTube channels and forums and things like that. These two products right here, I'm sure a lot of you guys here are familiar with them, but some of the people watching might not be. These are made by Microsol.
Yeah.
That's what you have the Microset and you have the Microsol, okay? But one of the questions that comes up all the time is which one does which. Well, the Microsol is the more radical of the two, if you want to call it that. That is actually for, it sort of almost melts the decals. I don't want to say melt in the term where they just, melt, but it softens them up substantially so that they'll conform to uneven surfaces. Say you're covering over some grid lines, or you're trying to. One of the areas that I like to mention is if you're building the 350 scale TOS, for example, that one little decal that goes on the very back of the BC deck below the bridge, that sort of red rectangle, it has to fit around that compound curve, and it won't lay down without getting some wrinkles in it. You basically apply the decal and then just take a little soft bristle brush like this one right here, and you dip it in there and just lightly brush over it, and don't keep doing that though. I mean, just do it once and then just wait, and you'll literally see over a few minutes of time that decal will just lay it out on there perfectly flat.
Now, when you do that, do you do it while it's still wet, or you wait until it dries completely?
No, you do it while it's still wet.
Okay.
That's exactly I swear by that stuff. That stuff works good.
Yeah.
Okay, and this other one, Microset, okay, is just for general decal use where you don't really have a super bad issue with the decal not wanting to lay down or anything like that. You're just trying to get it to sort of lay down and settle down. You just kind of brush this over it. I'll very rarely ever even use this stuff. You can see I've used more out of the bottle of the red one than I have this one, because the decal bonder we were just talking about does the job that this one does. and it's
Someone's
spray-on. The tester's a spray-on, which is kind of nice. But we're getting some pretty bad feedback from somebody.
Wally?
But anyway, those are just a couple of things that I've seen brought up on a few of the other forums, and just to kind of highlight on which one is which. Again, the red bottle is stronger, the microset is a little bit weaker.
I'll tell you what, for example, like I started when we sat down, I put the decal on the saucer, and it was wrinkled beyond belief, and it really worried me. It's almost completely laid down now, and that's what we've been talking for like 20 minutes or so.
Right.
So.
And then if you've got some that need to go into panel lines and stuff, I have used the Walther's Solvaset.
Exactly.
Which is supposed to be even stronger than the Microsol.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and it worked great on the Galactica, sucking those down into the recessed panel lines of the armor plating and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can do a little research and find out all about those different products, and one of the things I wanted to say too when you talk about those wrinkles is a lot of people are tempted to try to get those all worked out like right away, you know, and you wind up tearing the decal or smudging it or something. Put the stuff on there and just back off and let it work its magic. If you'll notice it over a period of time, the wrinkles will just disappear. If you sit there and try to work them out to where they're perfect right off the bat, you're gonna wind up tearing them or doing some damage to them.
Good to know.
Like I said, Chadwick and I was both saying, the Solvaset you really don't need with Microsoft or Microset. Not that anything's wrong with those products, but when I was working on the little Reliant here, all I got to do is just lay it on, and an hour later it's dry.
Right.
Yeah, the Microsol and Microset, the paint.
They dry really fast too. They kind of smell like vinegar, and that might maybe what they are. One's stronger than the other. I'm not sure, but that's what they smell like anyway. But I've never had the need to use anything stronger than Microsol to get the stuff to settle down, but there may be that occasion where you do. So
the only thing that I've had a problem with with the Microsol is when I've bought some aftermarket decals from, you know, like the garage vendor type people.
Right.
If you use too much, even if you spray it first, because I always do a clear coat over top of the decals first, let it set for a couple days. But some of the stuff, if you put too much on it, it will start to wear out the decal. You'll start to blur and smudge a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to be able, you can use it, you just got to be a little restrained on it.
Yeah, sparingly. Yeah.
Before you're crazy.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, anybody else have anything they wanted to bring up or talk about? We had somebody come in the room a second ago, but he dropped back out. Oh, okay.
Well, okay. I'll throw this out there, and I brought this up quickly when we first started this session, and we lost Boyd for whatever reason, and then we got rejoined at 7. But I brought this topic up, and I'm going to bring it up again to see if anybody can have any suggestions. You know, it's not the end of the world if I got to leave it. I got to leave it. You know, if this is the biggest mistake I make on my Voyager build, then I guess I can't complain a whole lot. But let me just show you quick the one, because this one that I'm having problems with, I have it masked off, and I don't know how well this will zoom in. But I don't know if you can see the Bizarre collectors on this. They're clear, obviously, because I'm lighting this, but the plastic, the Bizarre areas, same with the chiller on the side here, I painted it matte finish, so it's kind of fogged. I mean, kind of the same look as if you were to take sandpaper to it and fog it with sandpaper. But what had happened is on the other side here, when I glued this together, I used, unfortunately I didn't realize it until it was too late, but I used too much model glue to close these two halves together, and I used the I don't know if you see this. There's the Model Masters glue.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, what happened is that when I let it dry overnight, what I should have done is I should have let it dry vertically, and then if there was any excess glue, to at least let it run down the front or tip it up. Well, I don't know where it leaked, because what had happened is that when I glued it and it sealed it, the glue ran along the inside of one of the clear pieces and left a big white streak, because it wrecked the paint, or the the matte finish. So now on this one that I'm working on, there's a big white blotch on one of the Bizarre collectors. Now when I light it, and I light it when it's lit red, you can't see it at all. It's camouflaged. But you know what? I don't think there's anything I can do to fix that at this point, other than starting a whole new nacelle. Which
It's on the inside, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there really isn't anything you can do unless you took it apart and sanded it down and then polished it again.
Or you paint it red. You just
Well, I thought of that, but I didn't want to, because I already got my. Then I might, if I wanted to stay consistent, then I'd rather probably paint the flux chiller blue as well. But I'm going off of. I've watched Steve Neal's build on this, because there's not a whole lot of Voyager builds out there, and Steve Neal, he did his matte finish, and I believe there's another guy who's starting his called Gray Phantom 1000. I've been in touch with him a couple of times. He's also did his matte finish, the clear pieces, which I don't know which way would look better, if I should just leave it with the matte finish, or blue and red would look better on the nacelles. I'm not sure.
Well, I think when they're shown on the shows and the movies quite a bit, when they're powered down, they do look sort of a matte finish and not color, don't they?
They almost look copper.
Yeah, there is a
yeah.
copper on the D I've seen on the chiller grills when it's powered down. But Dave, I don't really know what to tell you on that, other than if it's powered up with the lights on, which is going to be most of the eye candy when you're having people look at it anyway and you can't see it, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Well, probably not, but it's one of those things where you see it and it can drive the heck out of you, or drive the hell out of you.
You know what's going to happen?
How far down the chiller does it run?
It's right towards, if you were to look at it, it's right towards the nose. So, I mean, and the only thing I thought of, being that I've only got it primered, and just so you see here, I've got it, this is my third nacelle. The one that I got painted gray is done. I actually bought replacement pieces from Revell, because this one is to replace this one that I horribly messed up the first go around. So this one it's junk. But what I ended up doing, just to try to see if I could simulate, how to fix this, is I drilled a hole on the bottom to possibly see if I can get like sandpaper, like something to scrape it. But I'd have to make a pretty big hole on the bottom to access it, and I don't really want to do that.
Dave, I would say before getting that radical that I would go ahead and just pop it back apart. If it worries you or if it's bothering you, I would pop the nacelle back apart and take the lenses back out. You can fix that.
How would I pop it apart?
Well, it's just glued together, isn't it?
All the way around. I mean, I would think isn't it fused now?
Oh no.
One thing you can do is stick it in a freezer for about an hour or two. And when you bring it out of the freezer, pop it.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought model glue melts the plastic. I mean, it's not like CA.
No, you'll be able to get it apart. It does slightly fuse the plastic, but you can get it apart. That's an old trick. You put it in the freezer overnight, and it makes that really brittle. You'll pop it right back apart, no problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if it was me and it was bothering me that much, and that glue run was only a very small area, like half an inch, a centimeter,
yeah,
I would not, because I'm not a purist, I would mask that section with a shape on both sides, and I'd paint over it.
Well,
and I would actually yeah, if it's run down the center, I would cut a shape, like extend a half moon out for the length of it, so you had, and I would just mask it off and paint it the whole color. But I'm not a purist, so that's how I would fix it.
Oh, I see.
But, yeah, you with me?
Yeah.
But as Boyd says, if you can't see it when it's lit, don't sweat it, buddy.
Well,
But if it does bother you, Dave, then I can totally identify with that. I do the same thing. I mean, I had a refit built here that I had the entire the 350 refit where I had the entire secondary hull put together, and there was one little thing inside the shuttle bay I didn't like, and I took the whole thing back apart and redid it.
oh, jeez.
You're kidding me.
Oh no, that refit that I built, that's exactly what I did. Yeah, I didn't have some lighting inside the shuttle bay exactly where I wanted it. I took that whole thing back apart.
Well, the thing is I also have a third nacelle that I can reach. I can do it again. I have another one, but the only problem with that is that I have a second Voyager that ironically I bought it for spare parts, but now that I'm working on it, I'm
I
torn.
couldn't get one Voyager, and you've got a whole boatload of them. Well, now I know where they all are.
I tell you what, we'll do you a deal. You rebuild your nacelle, okay, out of the other part. Throw your busted bit that you don't like in the other box, and I'll buy it from you.
I thought you were going to go farther and say send the garbage to me.
I'll just share something with you guys real quick. Dave is a Voyager guy.
No,
Dave sent me this a couple of, I guess, about last week or so.
Nice.
He just said, "Here, have fun building it." So I really appreciate that,
That's
Dave.
the
And we'll get it.
2009 one, right?
We'll get it built up on the
well, they're not
channel
you
here.
can't get one in the U.S. I mean, you have to buy it internationally, but
It's a nice kit. It's nicely sized. I'll pull out the main section here and show it to you. This one has the shuttle bay and everything too, guys. This is the top.
Oh,
It's the
cool.
repop of the special edition.
yeah, it's the new one.
It is very nice. So I really appreciate that, Dave. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. You do a lot for us modelers out there as far as help with your videos. So,
But I look forward to building that. And that's actually the first Voyager I'll ever build, so that should be fun.
good, have fun with the windows.
I will.
Hey Boyd, have you seen this before?
Let's see. It's a little bright light there on it. Acrylic.
Acrylic adhesive. This will melt the plastic together.
Okay.
You can buy it in a little small bottle. It costs you like $7.50 for a small bottle, but you can get this in a pint size for $17, and this will last you a lifetime.
What is it for?
It will
It's
melt
like
the
a plastic
together.
weld is what
In
he's
other words,
saying.
you
It'll
put your
weld the
pieces
plastic
together. Make sure you got your pieces exactly where you want it, and just run a bead right down the seam, and hold it for a couple of seconds. Bingo! It just melts it together.
Just like MEK, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Now,
use, MEK.
I've heard various takes on that around here and there. I know, like, a couple of different people. Like, I think I've heard Steve Neal say that he likes to use CA glue so that you can go back and take the model back apart if you want to later on to fix something or something like that in there. I don't really like to use CA glue on styrene models because it's just too brittle, in my opinion. It's just gonna. It's just gonna.
If you drop that model, man, it'll just
I mean,
fly right off.
I've just, I've sort of been made fun of by a few people because I just use regular old Testors red glue tube, or red tube glue, and I have not had any issues with it at all. But the main thing with any glue is that you're going to want to make sure whatever you're gluing is clean. You can't have any paint or anything like that on it, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
That's why I had to use CA on the clear pieces here, because couldn't use regular. I mean, that's how I wrecked my first nacelle, is by using regular model glue, and it totally. I mean, unless you want to get that fine and sand off all the paint around there, then fine. But I mean, all that's painted, the clear pieces. So unfortunately, I had to go with. I think most people, when they put these in on the Voyager anyway, they use CA.
Hey, boy, you brought up the orange tube. I just talked about that on I think on one of my videos about that with this C kit. Normally when I put these things together, I'll use this Model Master stuff is what I usually use. It's kind of a combination between the gel and the liquid. I like it. But when I put these nacelles together, when they got together, I had to fill it, and it's got all that. It's got all the rib work on the top.
Right.
So to get in there and to fill all that and sand it was pain in the backside. So then I thought of something I heard from guys that do the figures. They use this glue, which is what I always used as a kid, and they would put around the surface where you want to glue it, and they put a little extra, okay? Knowing that when you put the part together and squeeze it together, it would ooze out.
Yeah.
But instead of wiping it off, you let it sit overnight, whatever. Then when you come back, you've got this ridge all around your part, and then you just take your hobby knife or whatever, and you scrape it off, and it's automatically filled.
Right. Yeah. That's.
You have to skip the part of having to fill it again.
Right.
It's already filled with the glue.
Yeah, there are different techniques. People mixing baking soda with CA to make fillers for your gaps and things like that. All kinds of things that you hear about. People doing different techniques for filling gaps and things. Yeah, and I like I said, obviously a lot of people have built models with CA, so I don't want to knock that. But I'm just saying, me in particular, I found that I can get the model back apart if I have to as well with using testers if I ever have to get back in there. Using that method Chris was talking about where you can freeze it or whatever, but it tends to hold a little stronger than CA does. I just don't think CA is good for like anything that's load bearing or anything that's got anything heavy mounted on it.
Right.
The CA the freezing technique I found works good with the CA because that stuff gets so brittle.
Right.
So when it's cold, it's even more brittle and it pops really, usually along that seam line. So.
I just might leave it.
Yeah. Well, it depends, like I said, how how much it bothers you and things like that. But there are ways you can get to it and redo it. But that can be sand. If you did take it apart, Dave, you can sand that down with some start off with like some 400 and then work your way up to like 15. Wet sand it, and that'll almost polish it out. You can actually take some regular automobile buffing compound.
Right.
And buff that clear stuff so it'll look like brand new.
Yeah, headlight buffing compound works beautifully.
Well, I actually have two. I mean, I have two extra clear Bizards that I can replace it with.
But Dave, you're missing something. You said yourself you have a fleet of Voyagers in your stash. Just let this one go on the way it is, and the next one don't make it run.
Good point, and I thought of that.
You know?
But it gets awfully expensive with the paint.
Yeah. But probably less expensive than the kit itself.
Well, that would be true, I suppose, if I was a person that got into using my airbrush more. But like this nacelle that I got finished, as far as the primary color, that's rattle can, and I'm sure you know how much Tamiya's 3.5-ounce cans cost.
Oh yeah.
So to do my whole ship, I mean, you're looking at what, $100 just to do.
Too much, yeah. That stuff is too much. That's why I do it for a living. I paint cars and have a lot of paint on hand. So, but yeah, I've just never been a big believer in all the spray can, rattle can, overpriced hobby stuff they have out there.
Yeah.
And you can never seem to find the exact color that you want either.
Never.
No,
Never.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, guys, we've been just about 2 hours in here now, so if anybody has anything else, now's your chance. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this thing, guys.
I just want to say thanks for letting me join in, guys. It was very enjoyable.
Oh, we're glad to have you, Dirk. Hope you become a regular here.
Yeah, I'd probably be in the later hours because I usually got to take my son for soccer practice or my daughter for cheerleading or something. So it's usually later hours like this that I get online.
Okay.
Well, it's good to meet you, Dirk.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
I had a good time, enjoyed it as always, guys. Thanks for sharing everything tonight. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you again next week, hopefully at the same time, same place.
Thanks, Boyd. Thank you, guys.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Have a great Labor Day weekend. Everybody be safe out there, and we'll see you all later.
Same here.
All right.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Exit.